Hey guys, an interesting video coming up. We're going to be talking all things field of view. Bit of a controversial topic, this one. There's going to be a bit of back-to-back testing, 3 laps, one with the calculated field of view, which is narrower field of view than what I race at. Then we're going to do an ultra-wide field of view, which is way more than what I race at. Then we're going to do a lap with my normal field of view that we race at. And we're going to be looking to say, okay, which field's the most natural, which feels, does it feel off? But most importantly, as Toto Wolff always says, the stopwatch never lies, and we will be looking at the stopwatch on all 3 of those laps. I'm going to do it back-to-back at Kyalami in my usual Audi R8. This is what I race leagues in Assetto Corsa Competizione, so I'm familiar with the car, which means that the test should be, well, I'd like to say done by a competent driver. Because, yeah, if I took a car that I don't drive or a sim that I don't drive or I'm not consistent in, then there's too many variables, right? So I opted to come to ACC, to my trusty Audi, and I've been driving this car for close to maybe 9 months. I've won a couple of league seasons in it as well. So, yeah, it's well decorated, let's say. And it should be a good, consistent test. So, yeah, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy. And, yeah, this is going to be controversial, I think, but again, take it for what it is, and yeah, hit up the comments, let me know what you think, and yeah, let's get into it. Right guys, so here we are then. I'm going to do a hot lap session at Kyalami. We're in the Audi R8, which is the car that I normally drive in ACC, so it's familiar, it's in capable hands, let's say. And the reason I'm doing this is just to show the differences of field of view. Now, this is going to really set people off. I know it is, right? But I normally race at about 54 degrees field of view. Now, I'll get into that more at the end of the video, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my calculated field of view, which is what the online calculators that everyone uses says that I should be driving at, based on my screen size, my distance from the screen, and all of that. Then on the second run, I'm going to go to a longer field of view or a wider field of view. We might go to like 66 degrees. And then for the final run, then we'll go to the 54 degrees that I normally go for. So what we'll do is
radio check. Radio check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. So we'll stick on crew chief, because at least then as we're going through these laps, we'll know if we're up or down on the delta as well. But yeah. Let's, without further ado, let's get into this, and yeah, let's get a lap going. Straight away, I feel very close to the windscreen. I feel like I'm actually part of the dash display here, so it feels a little odd, but whatever. Okay. Wow, totally misjudged the braking area. Had no idea where the apex actually was. This feels absolutely ridiculous, like. But let's go with it. I mean, it's the calculated field of view. So let's. Jesus, even the turning way too sharp there. It feels alien to me. I've no confidence in the car. Yeah, it's like the turn-in, it like accelerates the horizon so fast. Now this is one thing that I've done a previous video on, like when we're driving in simulators, like we've got a few different feedbacks, right? We've got the steering wheel, which is obvious. We have the audio, like I like to hear the tires and stuff like that. But then we also have the horizon and how quick the horizon moves in your peripherals. And this then tells you, in conjunction with the audio, in conjunction with the force feedback from the wheel, just how much feedback or how much grip that you actually have on the car. This lap felt awful.
That last lap was at 143.33.
Yeah. Now, what I found with this, right, is that when I'm turning into corners, I see the corner, I turn in, but it's like I'm not there yet. It's almost like the corner is artificially appearing closer than it actually is. So when I turn in, we're still not close enough to turn in. It feels so strange. Let's restart this. We'll go with a, let's say, 66-degree field of view, and we'll see what that lap can actually do. All right, so I've just reset the car. Let us change to 66 degrees, and let us pull in the camera distance just so it looks, you know, I like to kind of see the top of the steering wheel kind of here lines up with my seat and position and all that stuff. So let's go with that. Let's go to drive. Let's start it up. And yeah, the time to be up the top is a 43.3. I'll actually put the delta on the race logic so you can see this in real time. But I have a feeling that we're going to beat that handy enough. I mean, this field of view is too wide. Everything seems far off in the distance, but one thing that I do notice is I can see more of the car, more of the track.
43.33.
It's more controlled in terms of the turn-in, the apexes and stuff like that. Still not ideal. Yeah, and already like we're, what, half a second up. Yeah, missed the apex a little there, but not the end of the world. Missed the apex again. It's almost like the opposite. On the other view, I was turning in too early. On this one, I'm kind of turning in too late because everything seems like it's further away, but as I get closer to it, it comes at me even faster. So it's a little strange, but like I say, I can manage it a little more than the other view. And bear in mind, so the other field of view was my calculated correct one. This is just quite a wide one that doesn't make sense to anyone. But what I notice is I'm able to actually see a good amount of the peripherals side to side. That I'm actually able to feel the force feedback and make more sense of it. Yeah, I'm already up 7 tenths, 8 tenths.
Your lap time was at 142.56. Sector 3 is a tenth off your best.
Alright, so 42.5. So let's pause this here. We'll jump back, change the field of view back to my regular field of view, and we'll do another lap and see the differences. Right guys, so back at the 54-degree field of view, and yeah, I just have adjusted the camera so it's back in the same position in the cockpit really, which is just behind the steering wheel. So let's do a lap and see how much of a difference that the field of view might actually make. So 42.5 is the time to beat. Alright, so after the first 4 corners or something, we're already nearly 3 tenths up, 4 tenths up. So everything just feels more natural to me, I have to say, like in terms of size, distance, depth, all of that. And the feedback through the steering wheel making more sense to me because it's just the right distance, and I can see the peripherals, the horizon is moving in a more predictable way. Yeah, so like I say, everything feels better, bit more confidence in the car. Yeah, I can see exactly where the apex is there. And likewise here as well. Lost a tenth on the outside, but
that lap
yeah.
was a 1:14.91. That's your fastest lap.
Yeah, so quite a difference. So let us just have a look at the... Well, let's return to the garage first. And let's have a look at the times, right? So I've done, like, wow. So I've done 3 laps, and as you can see, I've been pretty much driving them all in a similar way. The first lap I really struggled because based on my usual seating position, everything was just so close to the wheel. But yeah, let's try and break down, I suppose, and let's have an overview as to why I might think that the, let's say, ideal field of view is probably not the most ideal. So yeah, let's have a look at that now. Right, guys, the whole field of view thing. So what's my... Why did I do this, basically, right? So in December, I'd spent pretty much a week, maybe 2 weeks, going searching forums, looking for the correct field of view, the ideal field of view, all of that stuff. And I tried some field of views that were calculated. I've tried some field of views that just felt right. Now I did narrow my field of view by like 2 degrees or something. It prompted me basically to evaluate what I was doing, which is always a good thing, right? But for me, as you're driving, and I've said this before, you've got 3 main pillars of force feedback, right? You've got the steering wheel, you've got the audio for the tires, and then you've got the horizon as it moves on your screen as you turn the car. So, you know, you turn in. If the horizon turns too much relative to the wheel input, then you're probably oversteering. Too little, and you're understeering, and so on. And that's normally confirmed with the weight of the feedback in the steering wheel, and it's also usually confirmed by the engine, or sorry, the tire noise. Now, in order to feel in order to, you know, use the vision, let's say, as a point of your feedback, you have to remember, you have to be able to see enough of the screen and enough of the surroundings to actually make use of that. Because if you're going to judge your feedback and your understeer, oversteer by the amount of how quickly the horizon is moving, you have to see enough stuff, not just what's in front of you, but you also need to be able to see the peripheral, so the trees in the distance, the crowd in the distance. You see them subconsciously, even though you might not be aware of them. Now, with some calculated field of views, and mine are quite generous, right, 44 degrees. I know there's guys out there where they're banging numbers into calculators and getting like 38 degrees field of view back and all of that stuff. Because they're on a desk and the monitor is X amount of inches away from their face and all of that. But I would challenge that, because when you're in a real car, and I know the argument is, though, if the screen is this far away and you're sitting that close and all of this, this should be your field of view, right? And some guys end up with such a narrow field of view that they're lucky to see, you know, 3/4 of the windshield. And that's just not normal. You know, if you're going to try to simulate reality, then if I sit in a race car, or any car for that matter, you know, I should be able to glance my eye a little to the left, a little to the right, and I should be able to see maybe a bit of the wing mirror, a bit of the wider dashboard and stuff like that. I've never sat in my real car and only saw, you know, a small portion of what's in front of me. Now imagine trying to race like that. Now I know the argument is that, well, treat the screen in front of you as if it was a window into the real world based on your distance from that screen, right? But guess what? I'm not racing through a window. You know, I'm racing a car. When I sit in that car, I want to be able to see what I should see if I'm sitting in a car. I don't care how far away that car is. The screen is going to render what I should see, right? Not my distance from the screen. Remember, technically we're in 2 dimensions here when we're talking about TV screens, right? So the whole field of view argument, for me, I understand it, I get it, but it just doesn't stack up for me. Never really did once I started looking into it. And you know, when people say, oh, well, the screen, you know, as I mentioned a minute ago, is essentially your window into the virtual world, that's when everything broke down, because I'm not looking for a window into the virtual world. I'm in the virtual world when I'm driving. I'm sitting in a car. And when I'm sitting in the car, I need to be able to see certain things. I need to be able to see certain distances in front of me and so on. So the whole thing about that virtual window and what you should see based on a calculation, to me, just doesn't make sense. Now, if you're using a calculated field of view and let's say it works for you and you've adapted to it and all of that, brilliant. I wouldn't suggest changing it. If it's working for you, stick at it. But likewise, if you were like me a few months ago and you have a field of view that's, let's say, incorrect technically, and you're looking at these calculators, you're banging in the number and stuff just doesn't feel right, well, I would encourage you to think about why you're doing it. Are you doing it because it's going to make you faster? Or are you doing it because the calculator said so? For me, and I'm sim racing quite a while, like, you know, a good, you know, two and a half, nearly 3 years maybe. And I know there's guys doing it longer and shorter and all that stuff, but bottom line is, it's like force feedback. I'm sure if you were to contact, you know, one of the Audi drivers in real life, like, you know, Van der Linde or Dries Vanthoor or something like that, they will tell you there's an exact way the feedback in the steering wheel should be, and this should be the damping, this should be the whatever, to match the Audi, right? So, you know, if we're going to go to extreme lengths to get the camera view right and the field of view right, then why are we not doing the same with the steering wheel? My point is, a lot of these things are subjective. For me, I just want things to feel what I would consider to be natural. And for me, 54 degrees field of view, I find for most sims, is natural enough. And you know, and Automobilista 2, I know that's looking at the horizontal field of view. I think I'll run that at about 90 to 94, in around that, I think, on the horizontal field of view. And bear in mind, like I say, I'm on a 21:9 ultra wide, and I'm about 40 to maybe 40 something centimeters away from the screen to my eye. But like I say, none of that matters. You know, if I go too narrow on the field of view, I don't see enough and I feel zoomed in. And if I go too far back, I see too much. The fishbowl effect takes over, and then, you know, in both of those extremes, distances become difficult to judge for braking. They become difficult to judge for turning. Yeah, bottom line is, it's just not natural. So my advice is, don't feel you need to change just for the sake of it. And I know this video is going to draw a lot of heat. I can already see the comments blowing up. And you know, and I respect those people that think the field of view must be calculated, and if it's not calculated correctly, you're doing it wrong. I understand the logic. I get the logic, but in practice, like, we're talking, you know, seconds per lap in the difference. For me. So, would I change now for the sake of changing? No, definitely not. And I don't need to. I don't think I need to. But yeah, that's just my opinion on it, guys. Like I say, if you're the person that does the calculated field of view and it's working for you, stick at it. No reason to change. And likewise, if you're the type of person then that has an incorrect field of view, but it makes sense to you, you're good, you enjoy it, stick at it as well. I think when it comes to this stuff, the math will say one thing, but the application of it, as we've seen, can sometimes give something different. We leave it there, guys. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully you've learned something, and again, I didn't do this video to ignite arguments and stuff like that, so yeah. I'd love to hear your feedback as well, actually. Like, what do you do? Do you run a correct field of view? Do you not? Why do you do it? And I suppose if you do run the correct field of view, why? You know, and I don't mean why as in, oh, the calculator told me. What I mean is, why did you decide to do it? Was your current settings wrong? Did your current settings feel weird to you, basically? What prompted the change? Because as I got more into it, I found the only reason I wanted to change, or, well, didn't want to change, the only reason I was considering changing was because a calculator told me this is what you should be doing. Make what you will of that. But yeah, we leave it there, guys. Thanks again for watching, and until the next one.